What's going on, peeps? Mastermyne here. So the Eyedol trailer just dropped yesterday right before the grand finals of EVO 2016 for Killer Instinct, and I'm a little bit surprised. I actually wasn't too sure that it was going to be Eyedol or Joanna Dark, but those were the two top ones that I thought may be making an appearance as the last character for season 3. It turned out to be Eyedol. Now, the reason why I was surprised is because they did a survey recently asking which characters we would like to see in the future. That kind of indicated to most of us that they were going to probably work on a Killer Instinct season 4. More of that in a moment. But if they were doing a survey and they were asking about the future and one of the characters they were talking about in that survey was Eyedol, then most of us were kind of speculating that maybe Eyedol wasn't the last character, and maybe Eyedol, we'd possibly see this character in season 4 if there is a season 4. So that's the only really surprising thing about this. Other than that, I think most of us, when we were anticipating some of the characters coming for season 3, probably figured that Eyedol would be one of those characters. So if you really think about it, it's not that big of a surprise, but Microsoft and Iron Galaxy has kind of downplayed the idea of even having this character, and here they are, they brought him out. Now, before I get into what I think the future is for Killer Instinct now, because I do think this kind of changes the conversation just a little bit, let's look at the design of Eyedol. He looks a little bit different than what we remember him. Still fundamentally the same style of character with the two different heads. Now, this actually kind of looks like one head split in two, but then again, it also kind of still does look like two different heads. From what I understand and from what Mastermyne said, that the two different heads actually have different thoughts and ideas, so that's pretty cool. I wonder if that's going to affect the gameplay in any way. Knowing the way Iron Galaxy has been doing things, I wouldn't be surprised if, especially what they showed in the trailer, how he clubs his own head. So maybe you club one head and it's doing a separate set of moves, and then you club the other side of the head or punch the other side of the head and it does another set of moves, a different set of moves from the other one. Who knows? But I think it's really cool. I like the skulls that are attached to his stomach or waist there. I wouldn't quite call it a belt, but his like loincloth or whatever that is. He looks pretty cool. I like the fact that he's kind of like a really fat and ugly kind of creature, which that's what he's supposed to be. He's not supposed to even look cool. He's supposed to look disgusting and fat and ugly, and they kind of nailed that pretty good. I'm not too crazy about the middle of his head, the way it's kind of pulsating and the way the textures look there. Doesn't look as clean or as sharp as it should for some reason to me in the trailer, but during gameplay it doesn't seem to look bad at all. But when they go up close and they're showing it, and now that I'm looking at it in slow motion, it's not the most appealing thing to me about the character. But Eyedol also suffers from this weird Killer Instinct texture quality. I can't really put my finger on it, but I'm not saying that the texture quality is bad in Killer Instinct. It's just a little strange, and Eyedol has that same kind of weird look. In some places it looks really good, and then in other places it looks a little bit muddy. So, but that's just the way Killer Instinct looks. I mean, they developed this on an engine very early on in the Xbox One. In fact, probably right from the beginning, and I'm sure they've upgraded it and changed it a little bit, but it's not quite up to par with the graphics in Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, but it still looks really good, and the character looks really good. He animates really cool, and I just like the way he looks. The overall design is really good. So what does this mean for the future of Killer Instinct? Are we going to get a Killer Instinct Part 2 in the future? Or are we going to get another season, Killer Instinct Season 4? Let's look at the way Microsoft has handled this game from the beginning. If you look at the whole free-to-play model, and they really didn't advertise the game really well. It took them so long to bring out the PC version. It's really, truly a grassroots community. I mean, the community is definitely supporting this game 100%. The problem with that is that this game is a Microsoft game, and they don't seem to treat their other franchises like this. They usually put their franchises really out there, give them strong advertising, and I don't know why this game isn't getting it. Just the fact that they hired small development teams to create the game kind of tells you that, and these teams do have a limited budget. It kind of does tell you how they view the franchise, and not for nothing, but it's just not getting the respect it deserves. It hasn't from the beginning. With that said, Double Helix, when they did Season 1, and Iron Galaxy have done a really fantastic job with the game and far exceeded what I think most people expected of these smaller development teams. We have a lot of fans that are looking at this particular game and saying, okay, the whole entire roster from Season 1 and Season 2 is now represented in Killer Instinct, including Eyedol. So let's close it out, let's finish it, and let's give Killer Instinct maybe in a year a sequel. So we'll do a Killer Instinct 2. The problem with that thinking in my mind is that Microsoft hasn't really given this game a huge budget and a lot of respect. So what makes us think that they're going to just end this and then start over from scratch with a new engine, because it's going to need a new engine because it's using Double Helix's engine, which quite frankly isn't up to par with other engines out there. I mean, really, this game should be running on Unreal 4. So what makes everybody think that Microsoft is just going to start over from scratch and do this whole thing all over again? Possibly with Iron Galaxy or maybe another development team. Who knows? I don't know if that's something that they're going to do right now. They're competing with Mortal Kombat. They're competing with Guilty Gear. They're competing with Street Fighter V. They're competing with Smash Brothers. They're competing with Injustice 2 coming out next year. So are they going to start over? I don't know. I would like to see a Season 4. I think they should create a bunch of new characters, maybe have a couple of guest characters. I don't know if they should have like 4 or 5 guest characters. I wouldn't mind it if the characters were really cool, but I'd rather see more original characters to Killer Instinct. And I think a Season 4 would be good because they can go ahead and create new stages, create a couple of modes, and really make this game incredible. Not just good, not just a complete reimagining of Killer Instinct 1 and 2, but just make it its own thing and continue to do it. And if they keep doing that, like do a Season 4, maybe a Season 5, after that it would be just really overkill. But and some people think a Season 4 would be overkill, but if they were able to do that and create a Season 4 and maybe even a Season 5 and really make it compelling and expand the actual community of Killer Instinct, that would be so vastly different than anything we've ever seen done in a fighting game. And I think in that respect, it would be worth seeing at least what they can do and going for it. But that's just my opinion. A lot of people have a very different opinion. As I broke down earlier in the video, some people just think, hey, let's just have full closure and move on. I just don't think Microsoft is going to invest in the game that well. And I think if it does better with a Season 4 and a Season 5 and they get a lot more players, then I think it would be worth it for them to really give Killer Instinct 2 the big AAA treatment that it deserves. But who knows? I just don't think Microsoft feels like the investment is going to be worth the payoff. And that's really what this boils down to. Is it going to make them money? And I think they kind of had doubts initially developing the game. And since they've been going on, they've kind of been, I think, a little bit surprised at the passion of the Killer Instinct community. But let's just face it, the Killer Instinct community is tiny. Is it because the game doesn't deserve a larger audience? Absolutely not. It's just because I don't think they've marketed the game very well. And I think some of the free-to-play kind of approach that they took kind of hurt the game a bit. But anyway, those are my thoughts. I think Eyedol is going to be a great addition to Season 3. I can't wait for the Shadow Lords mode and see what else happens with Killer Instinct. And I'll definitely be doing more videos on Killer Instinct in the future, especially when this monster comes out. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you got something to say, leave a comment down below. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you once again for watching. Mastermyne out.
Till that time, raw rhymes undercover, underground, Danny Glover, undiscovered in my town, but they all
blasting y'all, overcasting y'all, cloudy days making waves, Mastermyne be crashing y'all, been a minute, but now I'm just fucking it up, romantic rhymes on candlelight.